Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the first show of the new year, episode 87 of the Pregame Network podcast. I am your host, Dan, joined by my bestest pal, Anthony, and we are the hosts of the greatest gaming news show on the internet that is also not afraid to ruffle any feathers, especially in the
Yeah.
year of
Hey,
2026.
there you go. Off
Mouthful. I got
strong.
it out though. We are going to go over what we've been playing this week, and then, as per usual, get into the news proper. Uh, Been a relatively predictable week for me. Been playing a lot of Arc Raiders, just trying to gear hoard and whatnot. Arc Raiders was a big one. We put like a solid 3 hours into Battlefield yesterday.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
big
cool.
chunk. Like
Yeah,
old times.
yeah. Uh, I been playing a little bit of Space Marine, not really that much this week,
Mhm.
but finals a little bit as well. We started playing Marvel Rivals, or I started, I guess I should say.
You picked it back
Um,
up for the first time in a while.
yeah, I mean, it's not really my type of game. I will play it because I like to play with friends, so that does
Yeah.
not hurt. And then I had no idea they added a PvE mode in Marvel Zombies, which is just it's it's like so the way I look at it is it is so bad that it's good.
It's
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 just
I wouldn't even call it bad. It's just very basic, which I
yeah,
guess is all it really needed to be. Is like what I think it was. I don't remember if it was initially going to be temporary or not. And plus, I mean, you
it
kind of
screams as a temporary mode.
you got the opportunity to slip away after I got up, but I was going to try and get you and Harrison. I was going to force you guys into one more because like we did the first three difficulties.
Okay.
Every difficulty onward, it skips like the campaign portion and just puts you in like the ending arena as like a survival, and that's where most people sit
Uh,
around and play. Because at that point, it's just kill everything, upgrade yourself, kill everything, and it's like a very condensed. And I hesitate to say this because it's not quite the same level, but it's like the same reason you would play Call of Duty Zombies. It's a very, very condensed,
yeah.
quick version of that because once you figure it out, it ends very quickly. But
Yeah, and once I was playing as Blade, and once I figured out how to chain my supers together, I was just non-stop, like to the point where my right pointer finger was like getting a little sore holding down my left click so much.
yeah,
That's why, like, when we were playing, I just kept on repeating myself. I was just saying, this is just ridiculous. This is just stupid. Over and over and over and over again.
yeah,
Never-ending supers. So yeah, we put a little bit of time into Marvel Rivals,
yeah,
and then we just started playing Left 4 Dead 2 again.
yeah. Just
And
messed around in there.
I got to tell you, I have never been so happy to go back to an old game.
Yeah,
Um, it is so apparent that what Left 4 like the formula that Left 4 Dead brought us as gamers like is just timeless
yeah.
because a lot of the games that I play now, probably the chief among them is Darktide. Like it is a direct evolution. I wouldn't even say evolution, but it's a direct like I think that Valve nailed the formula for Left 4 Dead so well that it's essentially perfect, and there isn't really any evolution beyond it as far as like a four-person, like point A to point B co-op survival shooter.
Mm,
Um, People have their own twists on it and whatnot. Like obviously, Dark Tide takes place in the Warhammer 40K universe, so like you're playing within the confines of that IP. But like, there's no safe rooms in Dark Tide, right? Like, it's not like, yeah, you can find different items here or there, but it's not like the loadout you go in with is that's what you're running through the entire run of any given match of Dark Tide. Left 4 Dead is like you can come across any kind of gun or different items and whatnot. It actually behooves you to go and search for different things around the map, which actually brings me to my next point. That Left 4 Dead existed back in a time where there was no bright yellow paint anywhere, like softly
I
guiding the player
listen.
where to go.
I know where you're going with this. I just have to stop you right there because anyone out there who's listening will actually wag a finger at you and
Oh,
go, Daniel, there are situations where there are arrows painted on the walls. You can't You can't just say that. When what you're saying is it's not
In
obnoxious,
the
it's not
game?
everywhere. Yeah, there is. It's very rare.
Left
It
4 Dead?
happens occasionally.
Oh.
Yeah, it happens occasionally. But the point I'm getting at is where you're correct in this is the levels are designed in such a way where you're not seeing yellow paint every turn, every corner. It's not a substitute for guiding a player, which Valve at that time, and arguably still now and before then, does expertly. They guide the players naturally in other ways, and the yellow paint and paint in general is reserved for, like, hey, you're getting close to the end of the level, here's the safe house, or the rare instances of platforming. But I get what you're saying. I just wanted to throw a disclaimer in there because, you know, you're coming at it with just like the common sense way, but there are people online who will wag their finger at you and go, well, there's actually yellow paint, that's why you're wrong in this situation.
Okay, well, it's not around every fucking corner, on
That's
every
my
ledge,
point.
every entry
That's my
point.
point.
Okay, my point being is that the game doesn't treat you like a fucking buffoon. All right? And it lets you actually play through the levels and let the level design guide you on where to go and what to do and whatnot. And I know, yeah, there are like HUD pop-ups of like, oh, grab this item here, or the safe house is in this direction. But like those only pop up when you're within what, 10 meters of whatever it's pointing out to you. Like it's not guiding you so much where you just don't even have to think about where you're going.
It's done the old way in a masterful way. I get you.
Yeah. So like I'm really enjoying going back to that game because it harkens back to a time in our video game career where things were just better. Like I don't know how else to put it. Things are just better. The game also reminds me of you remember Zombie Army 4 we played through? We played like all of that content. It's very similar to that. Actually, Zombie Army.
It's another game that took from that formula.
Yeah, like almost to the T, except it's in third person. Like they have safe houses, just like the mission presentation in the menus they're like presented to you as if they were like campy horror movies. It's the same thing. Like Left 4 Dead were the ones that pioneered that. Like they just took it. Which I'm not saying that the game that Zombie Army is worse for it, but it's so they just zoom the camera out essentially, and it still works. Like the formula is timeless. You can definitely make a game based off of that formula in any IP and it would still work. So my point being is that I'm thrilled that we were playing through Left 4 Dead 2, and I definitely would like to continue that. Beyond that, I think that's pretty much all I've been playing this week. I have different thoughts about Arc Raiders, which I'll get into once we bring up another tidbit that we found this week. But yeah, that's about it. What about you, pal?
All right. So for me, I'm kind of settling back in the rotation. I do have some stuff going on in the background. Some, like I mentioned, like 2 weeks ago, that should be completed next week, and then I'll be able to kind of just go over exactly what I've been playing in the background. That's so massive that I can't sit here and talk about it. It'll have a point, I promise. But other than that, I've been kind of jumping to a few different places or going back and picking things up from my rotation. Like you mentioned, we played Battlefield, we played Arc Raiders, the finals, rivals, all that kind of stuff. I recently went back to Genshin and did an event that was going on, kind of a, just a cutesy little thing that was going on, and a character that I've wanted is back on the banner, so I can roll for her and whatnot. So that's of my gacha rotation. That's where I've been spending most of my time. I was dragging my feet through it because it's one of those situations where like there's bad localization. So like
you don't say.
They're saying words I know that are in the Japanese language, and they're being localized to something that's not really the equivalent. And it's every time I see a line, and it was a core part of the storyline in question, so it was constantly in my face. It was bugging me, but otherwise it was fine. Other than that, the one thing I tried that was different is I actually went and I played a near the year-end darling of last year called Dispatch.
Oh yeah, that game got rave reviews. Actually, my buddy played it, loved it, absolutely loved it. Yeah. And then he explained to me what it was, and then like just based off of the description, I was almost immediately disinterested. Not because like I have anything against the game, but it's like a Telltale game, right? Like it's a point-and-click adventure. It's
interesting that you say that. I already know who you're talking about that played that, so I'm just I can tell because of the kind of game that Dispatch is. So basically, The best. So I have less to say about the game itself because when I do get to the game itself, it is going to be very quick. But the reason I went to play it is because I was curious to see what the Telltale guys or the people that learned from them were going to be doing. Because if you don't remember, Telltale Games died a while ago.
Yeah.
6 years or so. I can't even remember at this point because
been that long already.
It was probably less than that, but like it feels longer, it feels shorter because like they were always like struggling to a certain degree. Pretty much from after The Walking Dead season 1, there was constant crunch, corporate overreach. It was just a disaster. They were buying all these different, rights and getting involved in all these different things, and things were getting canceled or cut. They were a disaster from the second they got success. So I was curious to see what was going to happen because one of the issues that Telltale had when I still had some semblance of hope in them was that the corporate overreach was brutal. Like basically the second The Walking Dead put them on the map, the CEO, I forget what his name was, or one of the executives at the company, basically immediately started doing overreach on the story. Like they basically wanted to put their foot right in the script and have credit for when The Walking Dead season 2 came out because of how massive The Walking Dead season 1 did. And during that period of time, I don't remember how much of it was related to the creative difficulties between them. I'm pretty sure it was a lot, but the writers and a lot of the key staff of The Walking Dead season 1 left, and they went to Santo Campo. They formed their own thing there. And basically, where I'm all going with this is now that the company officially died and is reborn under a different name, it's called like Telltale 2.0, and it's under like some different branding. A lot of the other guys allegedly went to Ad Hoc. It's not quite as cut and dry. It's not like everybody immediately picked up there, but people have been eyeing that studio because they were supposed to help the new Telltale work on something else, and they also have this game Dispatch. And I was curious because one of my things about The Walking Dead, I've mentioned it to you before, is they kind of left their adventure roots, like their adventure game roots, pretty much during the season 1 of The Walking Dead, which when they learned, we can just do cinematic stuff and it's really cool and it's really awesome, right? Mm-hmm. And the best way I can sum it up is at the end of the first season of The Walking Dead, they do this little overview of all the characters that you meet along the way. It's basically, this is what you did with them, this is where they ended up. It's a little recap just to, kind of put a pin on it, cap the whole thing off and remind you what you just went through, right?
Right.
And as the company progressed, all the way up to the final season, that became like their entire thing, is just throwing all these meaningless stats at you as you went through the different stories to kind of say, look at your choices that you made, instead of actually making the choices mean anything. I think by the final season of The Walking Dead did this thing where they just, like, at the end of every episode, regardless of whether you had a hand in it or not, they were giving you statistics on these characters, and it's all fluff and shit. And I was hoping that they would go back to basically where The Walking Dead season 1 was, where it was kind of an adventure game, your choices mattered a little bit more, and I'm just like, maybe this is it. People are going nuts about the game, so maybe they changed it. And I have not. It's conflicting is the best way I'll put it when I played it, because they evolved into that formula where there is less input from the player than ever in like the standard story beats. Like you can actually turn off the quick time events that they worked on getting working for Walking Dead season 2, Batman, all those other games where they wanted to add more interactivity. All that shit's gone now. There are some quick time events. You can just turn them the fuck off. That's how few of them there are. It's basically you're watching a TV show, occasionally making a choice, and then you sit down and do a mini game where you do like the dispatching where you're sending.
That sounds incredibly boring to me.
Yeah, and I think it appeals to a certain kind of person or a certain kind of gamer, that like the same kind of person that's just like they're so tired in their life that they don't even play the games anymore. They go to watch them on YouTube, and these kind of games are like little cheats where they can go in and basically say, yeah, I played the game, when they're really just sitting there and occasionally pressing a button. And I'm so disappointed because like as I'm playing, like the tropes come up where it's like, are you gonna cut this character from the team, or are you gonna cut this character from the team? And I'm just like, the second I make this decision, I know that there's like a series, there's like some, like this character is going to vanish off the face of the earth until they're needed like 4 episodes from now, and the character I keep is just going to suspiciously have like less dialogue than everybody else for the next 4 episodes. And that's exactly what happened. And it's just like all these little trivial things. It's like part of me when I was younger and naive wanted them to like get me to Mass Effect level of choices, because Mass Effect did it. There's no reason this story-driven game can't. But older me just wanted them to reach The Walking Dead season 1 level, and they couldn't manage that. And I don't know. I think this game was confirmed for a sequel, and I'm already sitting there looking at all these characters and like, you're a determinant character, you're a determinant character, you're a determinant character. And what that means is like all these characters and all these different aspects of your life in the game had all these little choices you can do, and I know how these people handle these choices, and I'm just like, I'm never seeing that character again. That character's gonna play a very small role in the next one. I don't know about you, and it's just like, I feel like they learned nothing. If there
the sequel supposed to be a direct sequel to this one?
I hear there's going to be it's tentatively titled Dispatch Season 2, so I have a feeling they're going to do what they did with, The Walking Dead, Batman, and all the different stuff. And I say they because, once again, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure of the two companies remaining, this one has more of like the guys that were calling the shots in the last one. So it's just, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's weird to me. And the other thing that was it was really jarring to me, and it really hurts in this situation, is the voice acting. It was all over the place, because like you have Hollywood actors mixed in with industry regulars. And then you have like, I think YouTubers were in this too. And it's jarring because like you'll hear Aaron Paul or Jeffrey Wright, and then all of a sudden Matt Mercer's there. And then some, like, I swear to God, I don't know any of these fucking people because all these YouTubers are just pointless to me. But there's one voice that sounds familiar, and I'm just like, you're a fucking journalist. I've heard your goddamn voice before, and you're an insufferable human. And I'm just like, but aside from like my own personal hatred, I say that's limited because like I said, I'm sure there's like 5 of them in there. I can't recognize all of them. I don't know their names. So all of my biases aside, you can tell when there's like a flat YouTube voice actor or a voice actor that's from a YouTuber that's doing just like a one-note voice. And then you'll hear Matt Mercer or Travis Willingham, and you'll just be like, you're a class act. I know you're typecast, but like you're doing your best here. And then you'll be sitting there listening to this other character talking. You're like, holy fuck, that's Jeffrey Wright. But it's just, I don't know. It's overall disappointing. I see why people like it. I didn't hate it. It's another situation. I'm not going to say like the Walking Dead one where I had pure hopes and all this kind of stuff, but I wish they did more with the setting and the characters and everything they set up. Because while some of it is insufferable in the same way, like subversive HBO shows are, where they just kind of like throw out, vulgarities and like nudity at random to kind of net your attention and like make you feel like you're watching something meant for adults when it's really just, whatever. Like, I don't know. I have really, really mixed feelings on it. I don't really know. I guess I need to sit on it a bit more, but it's like, I know where it's going. I'm disappointed in it as a game. It's really just for the people that want to watch something that's like slightly edgy and like want to watch their games instead of playing them, which is probably why
I'm not crazy about those types of games, but whatever.
Yeah.
So was that it? Do you have were you playing anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. Everything else has been by the numbers, and the remainder of it I will have more to say next week.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I guess we could jump into the news. Some things that I found that are not crazy big. The founder of CD Projekt Red, he bought GOG, Good Old Games. He just bought the platform, I guess you would call it. Again, nothing like crazy huge. I just figured it was worth mentioning. What's this guy's name? Michael Kaczynski. Okay. All right, then not too bad. Anyway, he. So if you don't know, GOG's whole shtick is DRM-free games, which is a respectable mission statement to have. When he bought it, he basically reinforced that goal of committing to a DRM-free platform. That like when you buy a game from a digital storefront, you actually own that game. Which I can get behind. I'll probably never jump ship from Steam, even though I don't technically own almost anything I think that I actually bought. I just own a license or until whenever they decide to turn the servers off, I suppose. But yeah, that was a thing that happened. Nothing crazy earth-shattering, like I said, just small.
You're supposed to put your foot down and say, "It says I own a license, and that's bullshit. I paid for the game. I own it." You don't just lay down and die. What the hell was that?
What do you want me to say? I bought what I bought. All right, I don't
Fight
have
the power. I don't know. Not that. Good Lord.
Yeah, so if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't theft. Right?
Yeah, you saved it in the last half. Good job.
Oh, thanks. Let's see. What else do I got here? Okay, so this is kind of like a topic that I wanted to cover with Battlefield specifically. They put in a cosmetic pack that it's literally the artwork from Call of Duty Ghosts. Like remember, like the ghost mask that was like the key art for the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this character in Battlefield has that exact fucking mask. And furthermore, there's this like thing that's pinned to his upper chest that literally looks like a pair of tidy whities, and people have been calling him Captain Underpants, and it's just hysterical. But like, it is so crazy to me that somebody at DICE or any of the other studios that work on Battlefield, I mean, I guess it'd probably be a department of one studio that's in charge of the cosmetics, I would assume, but who knows. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to me that this had to have passed through multiple people's hands and came across multiple people's desks, and not one person was like, wait a second, this is, not even this looks really familiar. No, this might as well be plagiarism. Like it's that close. It's basically a one-to-one image. And I'd say that it kind of is going to lead me into another topic, because I am very, very concerned that with the passing of Vince Zampella, that Battlefield is just going to go right down the shitter again. Now, I know that in his previous projects between COD and Titanfall, Apex, Jedi, whatever, Vince Zampella was more of a producer role where like he made high level decisions. I'm sure at one point he was probably in the trenches, like coding and doing whatnot, like actually developing the game. What?
No, I was gonna say it's just, obviously in some cases he's gonna be more producer, but the reason I like, normally when it comes to producers, I don't give them a whole lot of credit, because they kind of, as you say, they do a lot of high level, sending money to different places and like scheduling and stuff like that. It varies project to project. The reason why I give him a lot of credit is because at the end of the day, it is his studio and he was leading it at that time.
Yes. Now, I don't know if he was like this dam that the water was breaking against that was preventing all these shitty decisions from happening, right? Like, I have no idea what his day-to-day looked like, but I do know that he was the head of Battlefield as an IP. Like, the buck stopped with him when it came to that franchise. And now that he's gone, who knows what direction it's going to take? Who knows what could have slipped through that didn't, and that might now do so because he's not there anymore. And it has me very, very concerned, because the bones of Battlefield 6 is very good. It's the best feeling Battlefield game we've had since Battlefield 1. And that was like, 10 years ago? Maybe 8, something along there?
I don't know if it's quite 10, but it's close.
Yeah, it's in the upper, it's close to a decade ago that we got Battlefield 1. But again, now that Zampella's gone, like, who knows what's going to slip through? And just kind of going off of that one point, Battlefield is kind of directionless right now. They launched, it was great. They were the best-selling game of 2025, best-selling shooter. But they were the best-selling game of 2025. And that's because they actually gave Battlefield fans what they wanted. There was no woke bullshit. There was no like major formula shakeup. They just went back to the roots of Battlefield, and I went over this before. But now we're starting to see all these different cosmetics slip in, and it's an extremely slippery slope. I get the feeling that once they start doing one thing, then different things will follow, and I just hope it doesn't completely destroy the brand, because Battlefield and the stories like this are very few and far in between in the gaming industry, but their reputation was in the shitter. Battlefield 6 came out, everyone loved it. I mean, it's not perfect, right? But
Hmm.
everyone loved it. It went back to what made Battlefield great to begin with, and they have the sky is the limit for them. But I don't remember how long it was after the game launched, but I think it was maybe a couple weeks or to a month that RedSec launched, which is their battle royale mode, and that mode is dying a slow and painful death. No one is
Mm.
interested in it. It's almost as if the players that really enjoy Battlefield don't give a shit about battle royale.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's very strange.
My whole thing with a Battlefield battle royale is my same opinion of a Halo battle royale when that was like a rumor and a leak and a cancellation behind the scene and whatnot. Is that a straight up battle royale does not play to the strengths of the formula like that, where it's like big open world, big battlefields.
Yeah.
With Halo it was a little different. It's an arena shooter. The reason I bring it up is like they both have a key difference to Call of Duty, and that is a vehicle focus. And with those vehicles, like, and among the other things is like you just can't do like a boots on the ground, run, scavenge, and gun kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was always going to be an uphill battle, and they just kind of did. I played it a little bit with Luke, and I don't know if we played it. We talked about
No.
maybe playing it.
I mean, I haven't even touched it. I would try with a
Yeah.
squad. I'm not expecting much, but I have not played it.
It's like a by the numbers thing. I
Yeah, I'm
guess you could
sure.
say there's nothing fancy about it. It does not play to the strengths of Battlefield, which is the problem.
Right. And it is it puts them in a very precarious position because yeah, it's free to play. You don't need to own the base game, right? I'm
Yeah, it's
pretty
free
sure
to
you
play.
don't. Okay, yeah. So it is free to play, but they're fragmenting the offerings of Battlefield right now. They have all these different modes, which is fine, but not that Battle Royale doesn't have a place in Battlefield. It just that is not what the core audience that's going to stick with this game for the long haul is interested in the slightest.
And not in the
Um,
way it's delivered, that's for sure.
right. So looping back to my initial point, like with Zampella gone and these other cosmetics that are creeping out, first of all, even if the mask wasn't there, the skin looks awful. I think it looks just bad. Um, so there's that. Who knows what else that he was stopping or green lighting what good ideas. And my ultimate point is just that I am concerned. Battlefield has lost like 85% of its player base since the
Big
game
drop.
came out. Meanwhile, Arc Raiders has retained like fucking 91% or something
Yeah,
in
I
that
saw the
ballpark.
comparison you're referring
Yeah,
to too, and
yeah.
to
I mean,
comment
it's
on
apples
that a
and
little bit.
oranges.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first thing to consider. It's just so we've given Battlefield a lot of credit as far as its gameplay because it is a return to form, a return to the roots,
Yeah,
as you like to say, and I don't want to say it's a problem, but a problem that it faces is because like them coming back to this point after being kind of like off the wagon, like the gap between a serviceable Battlefield and like the last good Battlefield 1 to 6.
yeah.
Call of Duty rose from the ashes and then killed itself in that same time frame. The
True.
market is completely different, and I am one who will always say you can't change your game for different markets, and that's not what I'm suggesting for Battlefield 6, but it's like they needed like an X factor beyond it just being a serviceable Battlefield, because you're competing with so many different time gouging products out there. At the same time, the people that latch onto your game, you're gonna deal with waves of these hyper competitive psychos, which I think have mostly dispersed but are still there trying to get the game balanced to the way they want it to be. And I don't know, I think you mentioned Battlefield, like the bones are solid, they can still do great things with this, but it's like it seems like up till now, from launch, they've been playing very safe, and safe is good when
Yeah.
you're trying to recover the brand, but you also need, like, I don't know, like there needs to be something beyond polished and safe. You need something exciting, and I think,
Right. Well, like the whole appeal of
yeah.
Battlefield 1 was the fact of the setting that it took place in. Nobody did a World War One game before, at
Mhm.
least not to the scale that Battlefield 1 took it to,
Yeah.
with the core formula that Battlefield is so renowned for. So like that was that game's X factor. 2042 just had absolutely no identity and was completely creatively bankrupt like from the beginning. So
Yeah,
I'm not even
that's
going to mention
Battlefield
that.
2042 is safe derogatory, while
Yeah.
while Battlefield 6 is safe on the right path,
Right.
because like the Battlefield 2042 was a mess because of like just everything with like the bland hero designs, the bland map designs, the bland, it had corporate HR written all over that game.
Yeah. Yep.
HR, that game was made by HR representatives and activists. That's who made Battlefield
Yeah, it
2042.
was just terrible. And
Yeah.
like my biggest complaint with Battlefield right now is lack of content. And when I say content, I'm really mainly referring to the maps. The amount of like variety that they have in the game as far as gadgets and overall hardware goes is actually great. They could use maybe one or two more snipers, but and shotguns in my opinion. But overall, the variety of choice that you have for guns and gadgets that you can use in the game is really really good.
Mhm.
But the the maps that we play, the majority of maps are good. There are some that I don't really care for, but the majority are good. They just need more maps, and I think that the Battlefield community, the world over, would be not only fine with, but excited about like old school classic Battlefield maps coming to Battlefield 6.
Yeah.
Like the one that would come up off the top of my head is Arica Harbor, or the fuck is I forgot what the actual like name of the harbor is, but it was in Bad Company too,
Mhm.
with the lighthouse. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So they put that in 2042, and I'm fairly certain that Battlefield 6 is running off of some modified version of the same engine that Battlefield 2042 ran off of.
Stands to
So
reason.
it's there already. Like it's built for that engine, not necessarily specifically for 6, but it's built for the engine. You could put it right in there, and I think that if you just injected a ton of maps that the community already knows and loves, that would be a tremendous first step. But
It's a good step in the right
yeah,
direction.
but its biggest problem right now is lack of content. And like you said, they're just competing with every other game that demands your attention, which is a very dangerous game.
Yeah, it's hard to describe exactly what it needs specifically, aside from the fact that it could be anything as long as they find the right thing, but also because of the fact that of the games we play, it is on the lighter side of rotation. I enjoyed it every time we play it, but it's losing that battle of time even for us,
Yeah.
And we were like the old heads that were saying like just give us a good Battlefield game.
Yep.
I can say right off the top of my head, I do think that the menus and battle pass system are a huge turnoff for me. I know
The
that
battle
seems
pass is terrible.
I
don't
know
like
that
it at all.
I know lumping in menus with that makes me seem a bit picky, but
No,
I
but it's
do
the
think
same menu system as like every other
exactly
fucking game to come out that like
exactly
Hulu and Netflix and everyone has.
exactly. That's what I was getting at. Is like it's almost like you made the safe Battlefield while you still dealing with these menus. It's just like it makes you go even though know
Yeah.
the game beneath it is still pretty good. But I guess beggars can't be choosers. But I guess this is all besides the point. Is that Battlefield needs something? I don't think it's gonna die. I would prefer I would prefer to have it to see it have stronger support than 5 and 2042 did, because it deserves that much.
Yeah, I agree. It just that was like a topic slash opinion that I wanted to get out there,
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
going over the news channel, seeing that skin, I just transitioned right into it. Let's see, what else do we got here? You got something small before I roll into the next one?
Um, Something small. Do I have anything small? Oh yeah, the guy in charge of the Silent Hill franchise currently, his name what is it? Motoi Okamoto, I think his name is. He was interviewed near the end of last year, and it got published recently, that they want to take Silent Hill yearly.
Oh
And I
God!
just kind of,
Why? Not every fucking franchise needs to be
I
a
know,
yearly
that's what I
installment.
said.
It bothers me
And
so much.
I'm hoping that this is just like a temporary thing because of the fact that like all of the projects from when they announced the Silent Hill 2 remake still aren't out. Like I'm hoping it's just like, okay, that just means we have like the shitty Townfall game this year, then we have the Silent Hill 1 remake next year, and then we have like a new Silent Hill the year after, I'm hoping. But I'm gonna tell you, man. I've told you before. I've bitched about Silent Hill plenty. I'm not really sold. I don't think they didn't have a spark strong enough to warrant a position like that. You know, it's like I know people like the Silent Hill 2 remake, and they dissect it to this day because the horror community is filled with. I don't really know a better way to put this, but like, it would be weird of me to just say, oh, it's just filled with women, right? But it's like it's filled with autists with very effeminate thinking, where they latch on to things. And like, I'm not even hating on that line of thinking. It's just the annoying parts of it. You know, you can be effeminate or whatever. I don't give a shit. But what I'm saying is, like, they latch on to characters and then like, oh, this character is so me, I love this character so much, and then they'll hyperanalyze every part of that character in the game, and they do the whole thing where it's just like everything's up for interpretation, and they give credit where credit's not really due, and because of that noise, these companies think that they have like something that just has this global appeal because people won't shut the fuck up about it, when in actuality these people are just watching the games on YouTube anyway. And to bring myself back on track here, basically I don't have faith in it for multiple reasons. First of all, Bloober Team's leading the charge with the Silent Hill 1 remake, which when Silent Hill 2 remake wasn't even out, I was expressing to you like that's like a game that would be a tall order for like a studio of the heyday being up to the task, because that is a game of circumstance and craftsmanship. But aside from that, I think the reason that they want to take it yearly, aside from having Bloober Team potentially doing more remakes even after Silent Hill 1, is that he said something like, oh, Silent Hill F lets us take the series in new directions, which basically means more Silent Hill games not set in Silent Hill that have nothing to do with Silent Hill. And it's like, what are we doing here? Like, I didn't hate Silent Hill F like some people did. I just think it wasn't a very good Silent Hill game. Like, why are we encouraging more of that? So I guess my little mini rant here is that, like, Silent Hill is getting ready to step on some rakes, and I'm going to have a lot of annoying people, you know, yapping in my ear about how these games aren't really terrible, even though they're going to forget them. I'm going to remember them more than the people telling me right now that they're wonderful.
Yes, yes. The keeper of the scrolls, we know.
The keeper of the... No, but it's like, when I joke about it with you guys, I'm like, because everybody has shitty memories, and I edit the videos so I get to hear conversations in triplicate. With these people, I'm surrounded by lemmings, Dan. They just eat, they consume, they yap, and then they forget. And I'm sitting there holding the bag going, hey, you ruined this thing I used to love. What the fuck? So...
Hey, yeah. Let's see what else we got here. I came across this opinion piece from The Gamer that the headline reads, I don't think Starfield is capable of making a Cyberpunk 2077 level comeback. And I linked this because there have been rumors and leaks going around of Starfield 2.0 coming very soon, or at the very least an announcement dropping soon. And I have never been a big Bethesda RPG fan. I'm not into the Elder Scrolls. I never got into Fallout. And I did, however, try Starfield. And when I loaded up and played it for a little bit, I quickly realized that, oh, this is just Skyrim / Fallout in space. And I put it down and I never touched it again. Not to speak of the design flaws that were in the game, or the bugs or the glitches, or, you know, take your pick as far as what's wrong with it. My biggest complaint was probably the overall combat. But I am inclined to agree with this article, and, you know, maybe Bethesda is just trying to buy time until the next Elder Scrolls comes out or something. But I just think that, you know, our buddy Todd Howard is just very off base with Starfield overall. The game would need such a redesign from a foundational level.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't see it happening. Like, yeah, Cyberpunk launched and it was a travesty. It was not good at all. It was riddled with bugs and glitches, but I think that the systems underneath, at least in theory, were solid. This not so much. Like this game, Starfield is a perfect example of a mile wide and an inch deep. I remember, flying off of my first planet, and it was just a loading screen. It's not like it didn't make you feel as if you were an explorer, as if you were a space traveler. It was just one loading screen to the next, and then like when you arrived at the next planet, yeah, they gave you control of your ship, but like you couldn't do anything. You were just in the orbit until you finally decided to like press the button to land, and it just felt like a very half-cocked attempt at making you feel like you were you're this space exploring adventurer. And I guess I don't really have much of a point beyond that. I just saw the article. I'm like, I agree.
Yeah,
I don't think Starfield can make a comeback.
Yeah, my whole thing about Starfield, and I think I said the exact same thing when we talked about it when it came out. It's a game that hasn't really held my interest, but basically my take on it, and this is from me trying it, and once again not holding my interest, and me talking to other people who are big Bethesda fans or big space fans or big Bethesda and space fans. Like I know one guy in particular. He's very big into this kind of stuff. He seemed very happy with it, and my takeaway from all this was just that it's a good Bethesda space game for people who like Bethesda and wanted them to explore the space settings. Yeah. I have problems with it based on, once again, that a lot of the corporate and safe HR shit that makes it into these games. One of my things when I sat down and is like, The Elder Scrolls. When I play The Elder Scrolls, I'm captivated by the world and the charm and the music and the setting, and like it's enough of a hook that'll get me to where I needed to. That's how I fell in love with the series. Is like The Elder Scrolls 4 had such a strong fucking presence that it drew me in and it kept me going. And then Fallout 3, it's not as good as, in my opinion, as the older Fallout games, but it had its own charm and hook and fun gameplay and things that you can do in the Fallout. Like Starfield, it's like if all of these Bethesda games that like ape off this formula were like riding a very thin line where if you fall on either side you lose me. It's like Starfield wasn't riding that line quite enough. It's underwhelming is a good way I can put it. And as far as like, this is another trend that annoys me where like you mentioned like the article where it's like, you don't think it's capable of a Cyberpunk 2077 turnaround. That was the article, not verbatim necessarily, but that's what what they were saying. I really can't stand that kind of thing. It's like Cyberpunk 2077 is a very unique case. Not every game is going to go through that, where you basically swindle your customers and you release an unfinished product after years of cutting features from your initial pitch. And, it's like they got away with a lot of bullshit, and at the same time, they were also, I think there were some legalities involved where like they had to work on the game for a certain amount of years. Otherwise, they would be fined a certain way. So it's like you can't just expect that for every game that underwhelmed you. Like Cyberpunk 2077 is a disaster that would sink a studio that didn't have a spotless record, like CD Projekt Red did, and if they didn't partner with certain things to put out media, like a nice flashy anime that makes you forget about all the nasty things that the game did to you and fell through on. It's I guess I'm ranting a little bit just because it's like if I said like, oh man, I really wish that fucking, I don't know what game, I really wish Mass Effect Andromeda had a Cyberpunk 2077 turnaround. Like, what does that even mean? Like, sometimes you just need to cut your losses, is I guess what I'm saying. I would very much love if certain games, got updated and fixed, but at a certain point, if the game is released, we can't normalize games being shit on release and then being patched to eternity. It's nice when that happens.
It's already normalized.
I'm just saying, like, that doesn't, like, even if I was the last guy thinking it's not normal, you got to stand up and say what it is. I just find that
I know.
position asinine to begin with. So like, yeah, he's right. I guess it won't ever have that turnaround. But at the same time, I don't even think it's really eligible for that turnaround because it's not like a broken disaster. It's a broken Bethesda game. It has its jank,
which is part of its charm, Anthony.
Yeah, listen, people love them some Bethesda jank. Even I do to a certain point. But the whole point is like it's not. It's not a situation where the company is embarrassed and Sony needs to remove your game from the storefront so that it can't be sold because that
was bad.
Yeah, so Cyberpunk 2077 is a very unique example, and it's not something I would ever wish on a game franchise. So that's my only take on that.
Yeah, it's just something I came across that I had an opinion on, I suppose. Let's see what else we got here. Apparently, they're making a AAA John Wick game. It's in development. That's all I know. That's all we know. I think that it could be really cool if executed correctly, but I also think that at this point of the game, the John Wick franchise has reached a point where, like, okay, it's a little bit too big now, and it was really cool when it was just like a guy killing people because they killed his dog and stole his car. And then as the movies went on, it just started getting more and more ridiculous. Still entertaining, don't get me wrong, but like not the grounded, movie combat that made it popular in the first place. And I think that depending on who they get to work on it, actually the guys who made Sifu would be a cool. It would be interesting to see what they would do with that. I feel like that would be an interesting combo.
My whole thing is like when I hear about adaptations and whatnot of existing like movies or TV shows into video games, I always, even though most of them are shit or low budget, my ears do perk up a little bit because I like the aspect of like adding to a story or telling a parallel story in a video game. There's a part of me that likes the cheese in that. Like every not every day, but every time I think about it, I am immediately amused when I remember, John Carpenter's The Thing has an official sequel that's like some 6 out of 10 video game that's janky and only people like me play, or that The Nightmare Before Christmas has a semi-official sequel that's a fucking Devil May Cry action game clone. I like shit like that. I find that humorous to no end. So like every time it's like, I don't know, what if they make a John Wick game that's like, somewhere in between all the movies, and maybe it's a little bit more down to earth that you want. It's like maybe it's in between 1 or 2, or before 1 in a show, or it's like an anthology that shows like how a little bit of like him before his prime or in his prime.
Well, it was funny that you mentioned that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like a prequel to show like who the Baba Yaga was, like to make him earn that nickname. That would be pretty cool.
I didn't mean to get your hopes up because you're probably disappointed when this thing comes out.
I'm not like super. It's not like John Wick is my favorite movie series of all time, and like I watch it every day. No, I'm not like that. I think it could be cool if done correctly. Anywho, let's see. Moving on from there, what else we got? Oh, sad day. Sad day. Yeah, so EA is shutting down Anthem servers on January 12th for good. So that game will no longer... They already pulled it off of storefronts, right? You can't buy it anymore?
Yes, it will not show up if you look on storefronts. If you have it in your library, you can still download it, obviously.
Yeah, so they already took it off of storefront, so you can't actually pay for it anymore. And then the game will be completely unplayable on January 12th, which is really a shame. Like, the whole Anthem situation is just a shame. And we've definitely spoken about this before. I know we have.
Absolutely have.
But Anthem was a game that I would have dumped like Destiny hours into. Like, it was just so much fun. And usually with like a looter shooter, it's not like that, you have to. Destiny was so popular because it got the gameplay so fucking right on its first go. And I know you don't agree, but I'm not here to argue semantics.
I can respect the niche.
Yeah, thank you. They nailed the actual moment-to-moment gameplay so well that the game survived in spite of it just basically being unfinished around the combat system. I feel like Anthem could have done that if it was given the chance. Uh, it up until this point, or until they released an Iron Man game, the Anthem flying is the closest thing that we have to like actually being Iron Man in a video game so far.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was a lot of fun. They could have done so much with it, and EA just decided to cut their losses and move on. So sad day for for Anthem fans who were hoping for some kind of a revival, which was probably never going to happen anyway. But yeah, January 12th, those servers will be going offline permanently.
Yeah. I very briefly I didn't mention it in what we've been playing because the game fucking crashed on me. But I booted it up and I just went to free play for a little bit and I was flying around and I'm just sitting there going, how did they not capitalize on this at all? I would like I think we even said at one point, at some point in the last 10 years or that less than that, is Anthem 10 years old? No. Anthem's like 6-ish years old, right? Something like that. Yeah, so when we were playing it, I think when the cope wore off of like, okay, this game's not getting any content, I think we settled like someone should just rip these systems and just make a new game with it, because like the systems are so solid. Like even like I sat there and I looked at my HUD, I'm like, oh wait, yeah, this game has like skills and stuff, and I used them, and like the cooldown wasn't egregious, it was just it was fun.
Yeah,
and boy, howdy, do we hurt for that nowadays? Who knows? Maybe one day if this, if they ever need like some ace in the hole or somebody to, it's tricky because as companies bleed more talent and they lean away from in-house engines, it's kind of tough. They're still using Frostbite at EA.
Probably.
Yeah, hopefully, because otherwise that game's dead. So it's, offline, because they could. The problem is, like, I would say, like, oh, take it offline, so that people can play it offline, but like, there's no fucking content.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, but the sad, one of the many missed opportunities of the last 10 years is Anthem.
And you're not a looter shooter guy, so like,
I'm not, yeah.
It means that says a lot coming from you.
Aside from the fact that I'm not really a looter shooter guy, to be completely fair, there wasn't a lot going on in Anthem to lean into it. So it's like I didn't even feel like I was playing a looter shooter. It had gameplay. The end. Yeah.
Yeah. Which should be enough for something to survive off of, but not today.
You need something. Yeah. Not everything can be GM flat grass. You need to be able to do fucking something in it.
Yep. Okay, so let's see. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about? Because I got two things that are in the news channel, and then I'm done.
I have stuff, but it's not small. Does that matter? Did you? Are you trying to get me to say small stuff, or like, can I get medium stuff out, or like what?
No. Give me something medium.
Yeah. So the PlayStation 5 boot ROM leaked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty massive one. Nothing's going to change overnight, but people are really underestimating it, because that is once again physical etched onto read-only stuff on the console. That's not going away. They can't patch it out. It's just when exploits happen, that's it. Game over. It's kind of the equivalent of like a similar thing happened with the Switch 1. Like a lot of Switch 1 models had like you can do something with like tin foil, or you would buy a thing to crack the thing open into a mode. I can't remember exactly what kind of mode, but like there was like a hardware reset kind of thing you could do if you put like something over the Joy-Con. I forget exactly what it was, because it was once again something they couldn't patch out. But basically, you would attach something to the side where the Joy-Con would attach, and like pushing it a certain way put it into like a hard boot mode or something. I can't remember what it was. But the whole point is, this is an unpatchable thing that is on every PlayStation 5 so far, and it's basically like this is the foundation built for things like jailbreaking, homebrew, emulation in the future, piracy, all that kind of stuff. This is the foundation, and they could not ask for a firmer one. That's gonna, not overnight, but we're gonna see stuff as we carry on. And what I would say is, like, it's like, okay, that's one thing, but I think in addition, it was discovered that the physical release of Star Wars Racer Revenge has a vulnerability into it where people are already using that as a gateway to homebrew. Like there's some kind of buffer overflow in the gallery menu or something like that. And what makes this even spicier is that that is not a traditional release. That's a limited run games release. So there's only 400 copies of this game out there right now. Or I'm not sorry, not 400, 4,000. So it looks like PlayStation 5 is getting off to an early start, relatively speaking, with homebrew and stuff like that. Because I mean, these consoles, these modern consoles, like the last couple generations, you know, they outside of Nintendo, they haven't really had too much in the way of homebrew and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of refreshing to see. I'm curious to see where they go because like I like having consoles modded or having more accurate emulation and emulators and stuff like that. That's always a neat little thing. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. It's just it's crazy how this stuff happens. It's like a big leak. Oh, also you need, in order to take full advantage of potential exploits, you're going to need to track down this rare game. You know, it's happened before. Like I remember some Tony Hawk game a couple years ago spiked in price because it was used for homebrew and stuff like that. But yeah, so PlayStation 5's on the menu.
I'm fucking fascinated by like that hacker culture. It's
just
wild.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Whenever, you know, there's like, I won't say I participate all too much in it as far as like, obviously I'm not sitting here coding away myself, but I love watching like the exploits and how people crack and open these things. There was a couple years ago, fuck, which Sega console? I think it was the Saturn. Like the Saturn was notoriously difficult to hack into and do all these things to because of the way the hardware is segmented. And I just remember the day they broke through, I was watching this guy's not stream, but like an archived like explanation or something, and he had like this wooden desk with all the little things and simulators and all these things hanging on there. The console was cracked open in pieces. It was basically dissected. He's poking and prodding all these things with all the different, you know, different tools he had, and he's like, "Look, we can boot it now." And I'm just like, this stuff is alive. So cool. It's so cool to look at that kind of stuff. But yeah. In a kind of, you know, a sidestep from that, you know, just branching off from the game aspect of it, Limited Run Games CEO is stepping down. Just opportune timing for this. Yeah, I think he was a co-founder too. He stepped down recently. I think it was even further back, like as of September, maybe. People really only started reporting on it now. I think it's because he also announced, he stepped down in September. It was announced on the 1st. So I didn't realize you could keep something like that hush-hush for that long. I thought that was kind of like you had like an obligation to shareholders or something, unless maybe it's a private company. I have no idea. But he's going to remain with the company until March, and then he will be departing for quote-unquote new adventures. As he left,
whatever the fuck that means.
Yep. As he left, he was basically talking about, it's been great. You know, physical is a great mission, and I would agree with him. But holy shit, Limited Run Games has sucked for a long time. Their quality is dog shit. Their like FOMO strategy is disgusting, and it drives up prices. So yeah, I mean, solid mission. I don't know about the accuracy, so you know, I'm not going to be like the guys who are basically saying good riddance, fuck you. But I don't know what the hell you were doing near the end there, buddy.
Yeah, I missed out on the Jack and Daxter Limited Run. Didn't you buy it?
Yeah, I have the Jack 2 one, I think. I don't think I got my hands on the Precursor Legacy one.
And like, as you know, I love collecting my collector's editions of all the games that I like to play. That it will eventually be my white whale. that limited run of Jack 2.
Don't count yourself out. I'm sure you'll get it eventually.
Yeah, no, I mean it's out there somewhere. Just, you know, got to be willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got?
I think that was. I mean, it was a light week for me. That was pretty much the big bulk of it. But I mean, a smaller thing, just as an aside, and I know it's something, you know, people out there care. You will roll your eyes, rub your head, and go, "Okay, here he goes again."
Oh boy.
There was a recent fan translation of a very obscure
localization.
Localization. Listen. You gotta let me get there, because I don't really have a whole lot to say on like the full product. I haven't sampled it yet. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna try and play it eventually. But it was a translation of this obscure DS game that's based on a very is considered like a classic anime called The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, and it's like this visual novel, freaking hybrid where there's like different random gameplay elements. I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but basically it's a fan translation. They've been working at it for a while, and something suspicious happened. Basically, they opened with a couple screenshots and a video which they later called, it's just a meme video. It's an in-joke between it where like people, like, it got people into an uproar because it showed like they weren't respecting different aspects of the way you would expect these characters to talk, and also like the meme video, so to speak, was just filled with profanity, and it was almost like it was let out there as bait to kind of get ahead of any kind of conversation. So it just turned into people shit flinging like, we're tired of this localization bullshit. Even the fan translators are doing that, and they're just like, oh, these fan translators are just out to make their own portfolios so they can get jobs in the industry. And it just turned into this whole thing. And then after things were going on for a day, the guys come out and they say, well, you guys are making something out of nothing. That's just a joke, an in-joke video. And I'm sitting there going, why are random people in the audience seeing this? It's almost like you baited it to me. So it seems kind of slimy to me, but I really don't have much to say because I haven't played it and compared it yet. But it just seemed like, I hate it when something like that happens where it's almost like they laid out a trap to kind of like get ahead of legitimate conversation about these things, because it wouldn't be the first time that fan translators are actually just as bad as industry localizers. Because there are like losers like that across the board. But just a little thing that frustrated me in the back of my mind, because it coincided with this other fucking thing that's less video game related, but there was like some anime, and it was holiday themed episode or something like that, and you hear the characters say loud and clear, "Merry Christmas," and the subtitles underneath said "Happy Holidays," and there were people out there that were like defending it. I'm just like, there's no world where like like, I know that, these are Japanese people and they primarily speak Japanese, but they just said in clear English, a phrase I understand and heard. I don't know why you translated that to something else. Like, who the fuck is this for, man? So, yeah, I got to sneak in my first localization complaint of the year. Got it out of the way early. And you say it's my world
on the 4th.
You say it's my world, but if you were ever in a situation where you needed to play something of any language, you would probably want it translated the right way. So I'm fighting in the fucking trenches. Eventually, there will come a day where you consume some product in movie, TV, or video game, and I'm going to sit there and either it's going to be translated poorly and I'm going to go, ha, I fucking told you so, or I'm going to say, like, imagine if it was translated poorly. You're welcome.
Yeah, of that I have no doubt.
So
okay,
that's what I got. There you go.
Moving on. Two things left, and then we can wrap it up. First off, I mean, this is actually, you posted this about Arc Raiders matchmaking system. I'm going to read it verbatim because it's relatively short. And this is from Patrick Soderlund. He's the CEO of Embark, bigwig in just like the gaming industry. He's responsible for a lot of the better battlefields that we got. Okay, so he said, quote, first it's skill based, of course, then you have solos, duos, and trios, and then also we have, since a week ago or so, we introduced a system where we also matchmake based on your ... how prone you are to PvP or PvE. So if your preference is to do PvE and you have less conflict with players, you get more matched up with that. Obviously, it's not a full science, end quote. I mean, we kind of already knew this. It's nice to see the CEO of Embark, hard confirming it. But I will say, it is definitely not a full fucking science, because I was hunting a Leaper solo, minding my own goddamn business, dealing damage to this thing, and someone just fucking sucker punches me and just kills me. I wasn't doing anything, wasn't looting anything. This motherfucker just came up behind me and shot me in the head.
And this is after me and you were also hunting a Leaper, and we died in a very similar fashion.
I died in the same manner and in the same location, I'll have you know. So I will not be going back there. But this is like, okay, so yeah, it pisses me off to no end when that happens, because then you just kind of waste your time. But on the other side of that same coin, you can't have a game like Arc Raiders without moments like that, which I say that begrudgingly because I really wish I could just do my thing in peace in that game, but I just have to have an eye in the back of my head at all times. But that's what makes the game so enticing to a lot of people, myself included. Arc Raiders is an extraction shooter for people with jobs, as the internet has deemed it, and I would agree. Now, having said that, I still haven't seen like some of the rarest weapons in the game, and I am about 80 hours in at this point. Now, I guess you can make the argument that, oh, that's how it should be. These guns are super rare, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but at the same time, I wish there was a more direct path to that other than effectively pure RNG, which kind of sucks. I don't know. I guess I'm ranting about it a little bit. It's not really going to detract from my overall enjoyment because I still like the game. But it's just, I guess it's a necessary evil. But now we have like hard, definitive evidence that, yeah, they matchmake you based on your behavior in the game. So, I mean, it is what it is. If you never play with me again, I understand.
I think, you gotta remember, I'm a rather chill guy. Things like this, like even in the moment, they don't really get under my skin too much. It's like, I don't place it on the experience. I place it on the game as a collective and how it handles that experience. Yeah. The only thing I would say is, I once again, I say like, with the hands on the scale like this, it's just, you need to have other options within the game because like, you mentioned it, I've reaffirmed it plenty of times where it's like games like Arc Raiders are built off of this experience. So it'll always come up when we talk about it to any certain degree. But it's like the fingers on the scale, the added weight there, it basically like devalues that experience to me because it's no longer, oh, you're randomly, it's not random chance. You're essentially being put onto different tracks and different lines, and occasionally you'll bump into people that you aren't expecting to. Your experience has changed because other people have been put through the experience already. And what I mean by that, because it wasn't very clear, is that you've noted to me that like the games have been getting steadily more aggressive, and I had a hypothesis when we first talked about aggression-based matchmaking, in that as we don't play every single day, we play predominantly on the weekends. You play more than me, obviously, but yep. As we don't play every single day, other people who do play every single day are being sorted, which leaves us in the unsorted mess or away from the people who have been sorted out away from us, which basically shrinks the potential experience for me, which is why it may seem like I'm nitpicking every time I bring this up, but it really calls for additional modes, or for them to just cut their losses and do a PvE only mode, because you're already essentially doing that by sifting all the people away from the aggressive players,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that other mode could possibly be, because like I just said, you take away the threat of PvP and the game kind of loses most of its stakes, because I feel like majority of players that play regularly already know either to stay away from certain robots, or the exact right way to fight others. So it would, I don't know, I feel like it would do more harm than good in the long run, but I mean, who knows?
So I agree with the basis of your position, because that's we were on the same exact page before this matchmaking thing came into play, but it's no longer like, oh, random, the great thing about Arc Raiders is the fact that, you go in, you don't know what you're going to get. There's tension because you don't know what the other players are going to do. If you put another mode in there, it would break that. What's essentially happening is, instead of like having that randomness to it and being completely at the whim of the community, which is massive, as you said, the player retention is great, is you are now like a system in the background is determining whether you're going to be in that mode that we were all promised, where it's completely random, or maybe if you play nice, we'll sift you into what is essentially a PvE mode anyway. You just won't know about it, or we're ramping up the difficulty because now all the people that just love to shoot each other, like, there's no one else except for you because you haven't been playing and the other players have already been moved on.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and they definitely do have their thumb on the scale a little bit, but I don't know. I don't have like a good retort. I really don't.
my solution, and hypothetically and coincidentally, it aligns with what I've wanted from the game to do, what I wanted the game to do anyway, is they either need to smother this game with additional content where it doesn't really matter. It's like, sure, you're every now and again you're getting, murked, and it kind of sucks, but that's the name of the game. But there's so much stuff, and you're unlocking new stuff, and you're making progress in a way, that it feels like you just logged on for the first time again, or you need to start giving players more choice in what they can get into, because you need to, if you're just taking away from them, whether they know it or not, based on these background systems, it's the players are going to feel it eventually,
Yeah, I'm very curious to see where they take this game, because it is not going anywhere,
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
sky is the limit for Arc Raiders right now.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, the last thing that I wanted to talk about, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, even though this could probably turn into its own fucking episode. This whole fiasco with AI that's going on, that's pretty much affecting most people, even if you don't realize it.
Yeah.
So if you've been living under a rock, AI is a thing. AI data centers it takes a lot to keep them going. One of those things that they need is RAM, random access memory, that that every computer needs. Everything is smart now. Everything has a computer, and everything needs a RAM chip. It has gotten to the point where these big companies, OpenAI, Perplexity, I think, is another one. Is ChatGPT OpenAI? That's OpenAI, right?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Microsoft, Facebook, or Meta, I'm sorry. They are buying up all of these consumer electronic parts, namely RAM, and everything is skyrocketing in price. So much so that a major player in the commercial, I guess, RAM space, or whatever you would want to call it, Micron is their name. They just pulled out of the consumer electronics market. Yeah. They just don't sell to people like us anymore. And I really got to say, the more I hear about AI as every day passes, the more I fucking hate it. Not even because I'm philosophically opposed to what AI is, and that's a whole different conversation that we're not going to have right now. But we, as a populace, were sold this bill of goods of how much AI is going to improve our lives and blah 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 blah. And I'm sorry, I haven't seen a fucking thing that it's improved, other than shitty voice acting in video games, or just really bad just creations overall, as far as AI generated video or pictures. Or it hit Battlefield already. They had a bunch of artwork that was proven to be AI generated, even though they swore time and time again that they weren't going to do it. And now it's affecting the pricing of computer parts, which I guess it was only a matter of time. But I'm starting to get angry about this now, because
that's I mean, that's a fair place to be.
Yeah, I mean, my wife uses ChatGPT a lot for everyday menial tasks, and I just kind of roll my eyes. I have it on my phone. I'll prompt it here and there to get an answer out of it if Google isn't giving me anything useful. But even then, I don't think it's tangible enough yet to justify the fact that we're essentially going to be turning this planet into a barren hellscape. Not to mention, I can't afford my computer parts. That's kind of secondary to what it's doing to everything else. I don't know, man. I don't it is definitely a bubble. I don't know when it's going to pop. I'm going to guess in about 10 years. That's when I think that things are going to wind down, which is a really long fucking time. And
go ahead. It's pretty tricky. The first thing I have to say is the reason that one of the reasons that you're kind of seeing this disconnect between things getting pricier but things not really improving is that AI is kind of a misnomer, where everybody's using that as the catch-all, but what it really is it's language learning models, generative AI, and image models and things like that. And people have just kind of crammed it all together into calling it AI because it's quicker than saying
you
LLMs.
can call it whatever you want, but the end result is the same. And I know words matter, and like it's a different technology based.
Well, the reason I say words matter, and the reason I even bothered making that technicality is because, like, you're to your point, you said you were everybody was sold this kind of like, oh, it's going to improve everything dramatically, and the reason I'm saying it was easy to sell that is because people hear AI, they think, oh shit, that's the future.
Skynet.
That's the stuff I was sold on in all those movies in the 90s. It's finally here, when that's not really the case.
Yeah.
I've just as a kind of disclaimer, I've mentioned it to you before, I'll mention it again here. My use with these programs is really just for things like lists and whatnot. Like, I'll be like, oh, give me a list of every date in this month, so it's easier for me to write schedules and stuff like that, right? Or like I'll do quick, spell checks and stuff like that. If I'm doing large scripts and I'm doing paragraphs and stuff like that, because as I mentioned to you, in the reason why you're not seeing it is because it's not really perfect or even like justifiably at that level for the strain that it's putting on society with things like computer prices. The it's not there yet. It's really just for funny meme videos, quick image edits for the general populace, and then like background tasks for people like me who like to like make little lists like that. I've mentioned in the past you can also use it to kind of say like, oh, like I also sometimes do like, oh, I missed today, anything in the news today. And like beyond that, if you try to do specific tasks, you're either going to be at it for a long time saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And like, instead of you doing the task yourself, you're constantly double checking the work of a faulty results, which if you're not trained in those particular areas, you're going to miss and you're going to look like an idiot. Now, as far as the pricing and like the overall, like where things go from here, you kind of laid out all the problems where like, all these things are going up in price. It's because all these companies are panic buying or changing their investments. Like you mentioned, that Micron's pulling out. Well, they're not pulling. You mentioned they're pulling out of consumer level stuff because they want to sell directly to these companies. They see it more profitable because we're in that kind of gold rush period. It's going to be a while before things potentially pop or stabilize, or not pop. I think the pop comes before the stabilization, really, but it's everybody's panic buying right now.
It's still a problem.
No, I know it's a problem, but what I mean, I don't have a solution for you, unfortunately.
Right. And like this panic buying is at such a scale where like it's going to take a long time to recover from. You're spending billions upon billions of dollars on these electronic components that. If I wanted to buy 64 gigs of RAM now, it would cost me like almost $500. It would be triple the fucking price that it did the not even a year ago. It's insane.
Yeah, and the other thing, so what I would say about all this is I do actually think recovery is possible in a quicker manner. The reason it won't necessarily recover is because at the same time you have the seedy business of things like NVIDIA and other companies that want to turn personal computing into like a subscription service, essentially.
Yeah, no, they can go fuck themselves with that one too. That one really pisses me off.
Yeah, they either want you to connect via the cloud. Oh, don't worry about paying for this expensive stuff. Just sign on to our subscription service. You can play all the games you want. You want to come to On Live? We'll bring that back for you, and you can just play on that stuff. Yeah, no shade throwing it on Live. They were a little quick to the game. It was novel at the time, but the whole point is, there's multiple factors now that there's like a very real problem in AI forcing these market shifts. Other people are going to be opportunist in this, where they are going to try and do that kind of stuff. NVIDIA in particular is acting very sketchy on that because they are planning. They want most of their sales to be directly to AI manufacturers, and at the same time consumer level stuff they want to be pushing like cloud gaming, and they want to be pushing stuff like, if you have a graphics card, like why not just have us play the game for you on the graphics card. So they're being very business savvy, I guess, for their own needs and whatnot, but not really consumer friendly. But on the flip side, you could have situations where other companies weigh in, see the power vacuum of consumer electronics, and become like the name in that space. Like we heard that rumor a while ago that Asus is considering making memory on a consumer level. So it's it's definitely, there's a lot of uncertainty, and the prices are ridiculous. ridiculous right
Yeah,
now.
Asus is raising
but,
the prices of their handhelds again, or
I mean,
I don't know about again, but
dude,
they're raising their prices.
everything is gonna, like, the next generation of consoles is up in the air too, as far as whether they're gonna push back or
Which
not.
is fine by me. We don't need a
Yeah.
new generation.
Oh yeah,
of
that's
consoles.
one of the good things. Is like, you
Yeah.
barely did anything with this. You can afford to stay with us a little bit longer. But you also, like, the one I always said to myself, there's nothing that's gonna keep the Steam machine down. It's I think it's we've argued about what kind of market share it's gonna have and who it's for, but I'm like, I was never under the impression that Valve would suffer in any way for it. Mm-hmm. Even they're apparently, like, not shaking in their boots, but they're hesitant because of the memory stuff going on right now. So there's stories of people ordering pre-made computers, having those canceled and relisted for like $600 more than they were the day before. It's going to be a nightmare, so
I'm glad that my GPU is like a year old and my computer is like good for the next 5.
I really waited a bit too long on my GPU. I still have the 980. Oof. Yeah. Luckily, console gaming, baby. Hey, listen. Console gaming, baby. I bought this motherfucker, and apparently it's going to be new for another year. So, good for me. But no, yeah.
Anyway,
the AI
in conclusion, fuck AI.
Yeah, the whole thing is like it's a very, like, I'm more than willing and accepting of new tools that make people's lives better, but this on top of what we've talked about like what we've really been talking about with AI LLMs so far has really been about how they fit into the pipeline and the workflow and how that's being mismanaged. That on top of putting a squeeze on consumer electronics, it's nightmarish. Like, honestly, if I gave a shit about, like, the next generation of consoles beyond, like, the fact that I'm like, I guess I'm glad they're happening, like, I would probably be very angry and irate about the fact that they're essentially pushing back a console generation. But they really needed this kind of humbling, so I guess I'm really not. I don't know. But yeah, I guess we'll see where it goes. I do think that the technology currently, short of major innovations, is kind of like at a plateau for a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's why we have these kind of fake jobs like AI, prompt expert or something. It's because you're essentially paying someone to sit there and prompt over and over and over and over and over and argue with this AI in order to get the thing out there and maybe make small adjustments by hand. The inverse of what should really be going on. So a lot of people have a lot of investment, so they might drag it out a bit longer, but it's not sustainable. There's a reason everybody's calling it a bubble from multiple different angles. And my key thing is, there are dirty games played at the top, but the capabilities of this technology is not where it needs to be to have this kind of stranglehold on everybody. It's just ridiculous, and it's very funny. You say you're getting pissed off. I remember when Microsoft made that second thing that we talked about with that second statement where they're just like, everybody needs to be ready to go all in on this, especially the Halo guys and stuff like that. If you read the comments under it, it's just like, it's 80% fuck this is a terrible idea, and 20% seems like a sound business decision. And if you look at any of those accounts, it's all AI enthusiast, bringing forth the world through new technology, work in the AI space. Like, all the AI bros are going, this is great because it works for them one way or the other. And any normal person is like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's just
not a fan.
Yeah, and it's just going to make that shit I talked about at the award show, where it's just like, the Band-Aid's off now and people are talking about it, but it's like that fight is just going to get even more, like, rabid. Like, the people are going to get more rabid because you already had those people who are like, fuck this and I'm all in on this, and now you're just pissing off normal people in the middle. It's going to get nasty.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to the immediate future with that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is probably a good place as any to wrap it up. If you are still listening, then thank you for listening. This was episode 87 of the Pregame Network podcast, and Anthony and I will be back next week to talk more shit.
Yeah.
Ruffle more feathers.
Yeah.
So on that note, thank you, and see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.